Now, the U.S. Treasury, everybody, recently complained about the challenges the IRS faces each year during tax season. A Treasury official told reporters it has been an incredibly trying and difficult time, and the fact is that there is a backlog of returns that are awaiting processing at the same time the IRS is receiving new returns for this tax year. The IRS has been hugely challenging and has required really creative approaches. The IRS has had to bring in a bunch of new employees over the course of the filing season. The Treasury official added, despite facing consistent underfunding, increased funding would allow the service to go after anybody making more than $400,000 a year. The agency said it last month. The IRS said last month, and they announced plans to hire at least 10,000 new employees. After an initial plan to hire 5,000 employees resulted in only 2,000 hires. The current hiring drive will last to the end of 2023. Now, Treasury officials have told CNBC News that this has been a priority since the Obama administration and it's been spotlighted by the president each and every time he came to office. And unfortunately, some in Congress have opposed the kind of funding the IRS needs. Now, the IRS has received over 133 million tax returns this year from individuals and businesses across the country, leading to an all-hands-on-deck approach to tackling this situation. Folks, is President Biden doing a good job on this? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Stimulus payments of up to $1,000 could be headed to millions of residents. Lawmakers have also agreed to offer new economic rebate checks for Social Security beneficiaries and even low-income households. Make sure to watch until the end of this video because you definitely don't want to miss out on this. New stimulus payments of up to $1,000 could be headed to millions of Americans. Proposed legislation in Minnesota could put $500 stimulus checks into the pockets of individuals. Couples would be eligible to receive $1,000, and funds for the stimulus checks would actually come from the state's budget surplus. The legislation proposed by the Minnesota State Representatives, and he said that with a $9.25 billion surplus, that they can afford to make direct payments to taxpayers while also investing in the critical needs of the state. He's proud to work with the Governor Walz to put money into the pockets of Minnesota families as they cope with unprecedented rising prices and economic challenges. Once the legislation is passed, eligible Minnesota residents could receive the funds this summer. Certain criteria must be met in order to qualify for the payment. Qualifying individuals must have been a resident of Minnesota for any part of 2020. They must have also filed a 2020 Minnesota income return. Individuals who are eligible for and filed a claim for a refund by December 31st, 2021 in Minnesota would also be in line for the payment. According to the bill, single filers who make more than $164,000 and married couples filing jointly do not qualify. The proposal comes as the country inflation rate hits a 40-year high. Maine is among the growing list of at least 12 states offering economic rebate checks ranging from $100 to $850 as stimulus funds to help cover the rising cost of gas and food. According to a new report by NBC News, the Governor Janet Mills of Maine proposed a rebate of as much as $850 to most residents. The governor's state change package to the proposed SNAP budget would give back more than half of the state's surplus budget as one-time checks of $850 to roughly 100,000 Maine residents. The state has $682 million surplus, by the way. And while experts say there is a policy reason to deliver aid to families, that's not only the motivation. It's also clear that this is an election year. So even so many Maine residents don't believe the stimulus is enough. What are your thoughts on this? Now, folks, when the cost of gas and shelter is concerning, prices for basic food items also continue to climb steadily. The food price index climbed by 1% last month for a total year-over-year increase of 8.8%. In the previous 6 months, food prices have increased by a monthly average about 8.8%. Notably, food prepared at home now costs 10% more than it did a year ago, making it more difficult for consumers to save money by eating out less. In comparison, the year-over-year average cost of takeout and restaurant meals has climbed 6.9%. That's because the cost of essential food items are increasing because of supply chain issues. To combat inflation, the Federal Reserve is expected to continue raising interest rates after introducing a 0.25 increase in March.
People are making more money. They're finding better jobs. And after decades of being mistreated and paid too little, more and more American workers have real power now to get better wages and to do what's best for themselves and their families. Some people see that as a problem. We've had this discussion in the past. I don't. I see it as long overdue. So when you hear these numbers, they're not statistics. It's a statement of the type of economy we're fighting for. An economy, as I've been saying from the beginning, built from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. When we do it that way, everybody does well. Everybody wins. Even though we created a record number of jobs, I know, that this job is not finished. We need to do more to get prices under control. Putin's invasion of Ukraine has driven up gas prices and food prices all over the world. To help deal with that, yesterday I authorized the release of 1 million barrels per day for the next 6 months from our Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Acknowledge this by far is the largest release of our national reserves in our history. It is a wartime bridge, is the way I look at it, to increase our oil supply as we work with our U.S. oil producers to ramp up their production.
Joe Biden is ready for stimulus checks, and so are many Democrats. So you want to continue watching this video to find out when you should expect to receive the stimulus checks.
I don't know whose analysis it is, but the readout was that the worst is yet to come. There's more bad to come. So it's pretty horrible. So again, I want to salute the president. He, working with our allies, are presenting a united front against Putin. If his intention was to divide NATO and the West, not just NATO, but other countries, in fact, he has instead unified them even further in terms of their commitment to sovereignty, democracy, and peace. Peace.
The tax credit debate has actually been occurring on both sides. Manchin has made his concerns clear about a new round of checks. Among Manchin's top concerns, which Democrats, everybody, have said they do not agree with. It's that people who are not working might receive benefits. Joe Manchin actually said that a child tax credit should include a work requirement, and he floated an income limit of $75,000 or less. In addition to this, everybody, I want to know your thoughts on Joe Manchin.
Good morning. Here we are, just came from the floor where you're passing the PACT Act. It's pretty exciting. Let's start with the beginning of the week. Earlier this week, when the President of the United States delivered a State of the Union address that gave the American people hope and confidence in their future.
So here's some breaking news. If you're used to receiving a tax refund from the IRS this time, then financial experts warn that you may get less than usual this year. One important reason this may occur is because of the child tax credit payments. Last year, the American Rescue Plan brought a major change for the child tax credit. The change upped the top amount on offer from $2,000 to $3,000, or $3,600 for children aged below 6. The most significant change was the payment structure of this, with monthly payments sent out to eligible people for the final 6 months of 2021. That meant that half